Hey guys, Mrs. Sterling here. We are ready to continue. I'm starting today in chapter 34, which is on page 182 if you have your own book. It is at the part where Min Lee is heading back to the home of Da'afu, the two little children who were successful in killing the green tiger. Their grandfather is staying back with Dragon, who is injured, to make sure and just help take care of him while Min Lee goes to rest back at the home of the children. Okay, so that's where we left off. We are starting on chapter 34. Which of you is Afu, and which one is Dafu? Min Lee asked the twins. My name's Min Lee. The children laughed. Their giggles were like bells playing in unison. I'm Afu, the girl said. He's Dafu. But you just can call us Da'afu, because we are always together. Everyone does. Min Lee smiled. The exhaustion from the long night of worry had made her feel heavy and clumsy, but the children's happiness seemed to carry her. Their every word seemed to be mixed with merriness. Their laughter pushed her toward the cheerful yellow patch in the distance. And as they approached the spot, Min Lee realized that the yellow was flowers. In front of them was land full of blooming trees. The trees were heavy with bright blossoms, and as the wind blew through the branches, golden flowers showered down like rain. As they reached the trees and breathed in the spicy scent of the flowers, Min Lee gasped. It's beautiful, she said. The children laughed again, and the brilliant red of their clothes and the golden yellow flowers of the trees seemed to make Min Lee's eyes dazzle with color. But their brilliance was a contrast to the stone rooftops of a village below. The homes looked as though they had to be hewed from the cold, harsh rock of the mountain, and Min Lee saw that the flowering trees were the only things that grew easily from the unforgiving, rough soil. The boy saw Min Lee's gaze. That's our home, he told her, the village of the moon rain. Village of the moon rain? Min Lee asked. That's a strange name. Why isn't your village named after the flowering trees? It is, Dafu said. The story of the village of the moon rain. Over 100 years ago, when our ancestors were first brought here, the land of the village was barren and gray. Everything was dull and colorless. The wind cold and bitter. Still, our ancestors worked hard. They built houses out of mountain stone, sewed warm, wadded cotton jackets, and planted seeds in the hard dirt. But despite their efforts, the land refused to bear a single plant or flower. However, even though it looked hopeless, our ancestors continued to work. Then one night, when the moon was big and round, the air filled with a strange fluttering sound. Our ancestors thought that a great storm was coming and rushed inside. And a great storm was coming. With a crash, raindrops seemed to fall from the sky. But what strange rain it was! Round and smooth, in the glowing light, the raindrops looked like silver pearls. And when they touched the ground, they disappeared. It's raining pearls, our ancestors said to each other, jewels from the moon. And they rushed out with baskets and bags, catching what they could from this strange storm. Magically, when the raindrops were caught, they didn't disappear, and soon their baskets and bags were full. But in the morning, our ancestors saw that the drops were not pearls or jewels. In the sunlight, they saw that they were really seeds. But no one knew what kind of seeds they were. Curious, they planted them in the hard earth. And when the moon rose again that night, the strange rain fell again as well. This time, our ancestors were not fooled and just watched the drops disappear into the ground. But in the morning, the planted seeds were sprouting as if watered by a magic brew. So night after night, the seed rain fell from the sky, and as daylight broke over the land, the seedlings grew higher. Soon, they grew into beautiful silver trees with golden flowers. They were so beautiful, our ancestors planted more and more seeds, and soon the whole village was blooming with hundreds and hundreds of flowering trees. And since then, our home has been called the Village of the Moon Rain. We plant new seeds every day, and every night the moon rain falls, and every morning a new seedling sprouts. Maybe in another 100 years, all this stony land will be covered with trees, and the mountain will be as golden as the moon. So these seeds rain from the sky every night? Minley asked. Well, every night there is a moon, the girl said. That is why we call it moon rain. Here's a cool picture of the seeds raining down. And you don't know why? Minley asked. Even though she was tired, she could not help being curious. Both children shook their heads, and before Minley could ask more questions, the boy pointed. Minley followed his hand and saw crimson gate doors painted with a cheerful greeting. "We're here," he cried. "Come on, we're home." Chapter 35. After the great storm, Ma and Ba worried that vast damage had been done to the village. And when the sun shone in the morning, the village looked as if it were in ruins. Large tree branches had fallen, and a clutter of leaves and roof tiles and dust and dirt littered the ground. Yet, when the villagers began to clean, they saw the storm had not harmed them as much as they had feared. "At least no homes were destroyed," the villagers said to each other, "and we know everyone is safe." "Well, everyone except for Minley," they added silently. Ma and Ba said nothing when their neighbors paused awkwardly. They helped pick up the broken branches, swept broken bits of pottery and tiles from the street, and nailed shutters. At night, they quietly sat together at the table with the goldfish. Though Ma had heard nothing, Ba remembered the fish's words about the fear in the wind. It filled him with worry, and he waited for the fish to speak again. However, it remained oddly silent. Finally, when Ma was busy helping a neighbor, Ba tried to question the fish. "During the storm, you said there was fear in the wind," Ba said to the fish. "Whose fear was it? Was it Minley's? Was she afraid of something?" The fish stared at Ba with its round eyes and made no sound. "Please tell me," Ba said, his hands around the bowl. The fish swam noiselessly in the water. Ba was puzzled. Had the fish stopped speaking? Or was he now unable to understand? Or perhaps the fish had never spoken, and it all had been his imagination. Ba placed his ear close to the water. Was that faint bubbling a whisper? He strained closer, his ear beginning to dip into the water. "What are you doing?" Ma asked as she came into the room. Ba jerked his head up, his ear dripping with water. Nothing," he said sheepishly. "Were you cleaning your ear in the fishbowl?" Ma said, slightly appalled. "Not exactly," Ba said awkwardly. A cross look streaked across Ma's face, but as she looked at Ba, rubbing his ear shamefacedly, she did something she hadn't done in years. She laughed. "You look so silly. If Minley were here now," Ma said, "she would laugh at you." "Yes, she would," Ba said, and he, too, began to laugh. She would laugh until she cried. Their laughter intertwined, but when they looked at each other, they could see the tears forming were not from joy. I think they're missing their daughter. Chapter 36. Minley was so tired that she could barely remember what happened when they entered the village. She hardly remembered the clamor of people gathering around them and the loud cheers as Da'afu told about the destruction of the green tiger. And she vaguely remembered the big, soft hug of an elderly woman who pushed her inside a welcoming house. But she did remember the cozy, lovely feeling of falling into a bed, like holding a warm, steamed bun on an icy day. And then Minley closed her eyes and slept. When she woke up, 3 round faces peered above her like plump peaches. They were Dafu, Afu and Ama, their grandmother. Each of the children, dressed in their red wadded cotton outfits, the rip in Dafu's pants was now patched, had little movable stoves with them. With the heaters and all of them crowded in the room, Minli felt as if she were in a warm oven of kindness. She smiled. "Good morning," Ama said. The children giggled. "Good night," Dafu said. "You slept the whole day. Pretty soon, it'll be time to go to bed again. Now Da'afu." "Don't tease the girl," Ama said. Obviously, she was very tired. "Here, Minli, drink this." Ama poured some tea from a pot and handed Minli a cup. Minli sipped it gratefully. The steaming liquid slipped down her throat smoothly and seemed to fill every part of her with a fresh energy. She took another sip of tea and breathed in the tangy fragrance, which smelled familiar. "This is nice tea," Minli said. "Thank you." "It's not tea," Afu said. "It's the medicine that cures the tiger's poison." "It is tea as well," Ama said. "It is good whether you have been touched by the green tiger or not." Minli stopped drinking. "Is there enough of this for the dragon?" Minli asked, remembering how Agong had asked them to bring more medicine. "Maybe we should take this to him." Da'afu laughed again. "Don't worry," they said. "We have a lot of it. It's made from the leaves of the flowering trees." "And Da'afu already brought a large pot to your dragon friend," Ama said, her wrinkled face looking kindly at Minli. "Yes," Afu said, "your dragon is doing fine. He and Agong were talking to each other when I brought the pot, and he even said thank you for saving him from the green tiger's poison." Minli sat back, relieved and cheered by their words. "What was the green tiger?" Da'afu said something about a magistrate, she asked. "And how did you know this tea cured the tiger's poison?" "We found that out by accident," Ama said. The story of the green tiger tea, the green tiger and the tea. When the green tiger discovered us 4 moons ago, we quickly learned he was not an ordinary tiger. It was not his color or his size. It was the anger he had for us. First, he attacked our livestock, the sheep, the pigs, chickens, but not to eat, just to kill. He taunted us with his evil, leaving the dying animals in a row outside our door. Whatever animals he did not kill outright died within an hour or so from the vile poison of the tiger's touch. We knew it was just a matter of time before he caught one of us. We kept the children and whatever animals we had left inside. Agong, my husband, studied furiously, trying to find out more about this powerful monster who tormented us. We were running out of food when Agong finally discovered what the green tiger was. When Agong was a young man, he had made a journey to the city south of here and bought an old book of history. That book, with our ancestors' ancient texts, was how Agong discovered that the green tiger was the spirit of the magistrate our ancestors had tried to give the secret of happiness to, but had angered instead. During his life, the magistrate had filled his spirit with so much rage that when his body left, his spirit could not rest and instead turned into the green tiger. Agong learned that the green tiger searched for all those he felt had wronged him. The tiger would punish us for his imagined offense and then, when he felt the punishment was complete, destroy us. Afterward, he would find others who had wronged him and punish and destroy them as well. Who knows how many people he hurt before he came to us? Perhaps we were lucky he only found us 4 moons ago. In desperation, the men decided to form a hunting party to try to kill the tiger. But the green tiger was too powerful for us. Our swords and staffs were shattered by him. The hunting party returned, half of the men carried by the other half, and almost all injured. The women and children we tried to nurse the injured, but they kept getting sicker and sicker from the tiger's poison, and I began to despair. Though it had not worked on any of the animals in the past, I thought perhaps hot water could wash away the poison from the wounds. So even though it was dangerous, I left the house to get water from the well. Just as I returned, I saw the tiger. He was standing in front of our gate, doing something peculiar. He seemed to be arranging things. I kept a far distance behind the trunk of a flowering tree. He soon finished and left, not noticing me. As soon as he left, I carefully rushed to the gate. The tiger had left a strange array of objects. There was a piece of a broken vase with a moon on it, a mangled child's jacket, and 2 deep claw marks scratched into the stone. I knew it was a message, but what did it say? The only person who would know would be Agong, but he was sick and dying from the tiger's poison. My eyes filled with tears as I rushed inside. It was hard for me to keep from crying, and I was blinded by my own tears. So it was only when the fragrance filled the air that I realized that the water I was boiling had leaves from the flowering trees in it. They must have fallen in while I was hiding from the green tiger. It was too dangerous to go and get more water. Everyone was horrified that I had gone at all. So I used the hot leaf water to clean Agong's wound. And like magic, the poison began to melt away. I couldn't believe it. I gave Agong some leaf water tea to drink, and immediately his hoarse breathing was soothed and his face relaxed. Quickly, we used the tea on all the men, and by the time the last injured man was given the tea, Agong was sitting up in his bed with Da'afu at his side. I was a fool, he said to us. I should have known we could not fight the green tiger with more anger. We just add to his power that way. His anger is his strength, but it can also be his weakness. His anger can blind him, and that is when he is vulnerable. Maybe if I can find who angered the magistrate the most, I can... You are definitely recovering, I had to smile. Already you are making plans. But why don't you rest for now? No, Agong waved away my concerns. I must learn more. Immediately, before the green tiger does more damage. I knew then that Agong needed to see the green tiger's message right away. Da'afu and I wrapped him in blankets and supported him as he hobbled to the gate. Agong looked grave as he examined the objects. Just as I thought, he knew right away what it meant. What is the green tiger saying? Afu asked. It says if we give him 2 children every month, he will leave us in peace, Agong said. This is the start of his punishment for us, the way we are to pay penance for our ancestors. How does it say that? Dafu asked. 2 claw marks next to a child's clothes means he wants 2 children, and the vase is a symbol of peace. The moon on it means every month. So he offers us a month of peace for 2 children, Agong said. It matters not. We will not sacrifice even a baby pig to him. But Afu and I had other ideas, Dafu said, interrupting. After Agong found out that the person who angered the green tiger the most was his own son, he was a king and he had banished the magistrate tiger from the kingdom, we made a plan. Yes, Afu said proudly. We decided we would trick the green tiger into getting so angry that he would destroy himself in the well. And our plan worked. It was also a plan that we did not approve of or agree to, Amma said, shaking her head at them, even though she could not help smiling affectionately. But now, young Min Li, you have heard our story, but we have not heard yours. We know your name and that you are friends with a dragon, and we can guess you are far from home. Why don't you tell us the rest? So Min Li told them about Ma and Ba, their struggles in the muddy fields, the goldfish man, and the goldfish. She told them about meeting the dragon that could not fly, and the monkeys and the buffalo boy. She told them about the king of the city of bright moonlight and the borrowed lines. She told them about her whole journey. And as she spoke, Da'afu and their grandmother laughed and gasped and stared in wonder. Sometimes Amma shook her head. Sometimes Da'afu would look at each other in disbelief, but they did not interrupt once. So all of this is to get to Never-Ending Mountain, Dafu said finally. We know where that is. You do? Min Li exclaimed, sitting up in excitement. Really? Yes, Never-Ending Mountain is nearby, Afu said. About a day's journey. Minli looked at them in shock, and no words could come out of her mouth. A day's journey? After all their days of traveling, Minli couldn't believe they were so close. As soon as your dragon friend is well, Amma said, Da'afu will take you there, and then you can return to your parents. Minli smiled gratefully, but as she looked at their comfortable, round, pink faces, how both Afu and Dafu leaned against their grandmother with devotion, and how she rested her hands on their heads with tenderness, Minli suddenly thought of Ma and Ba. A wave of longing washed through her, and a dryness caught in her throat that the tea could not moisten. So she's getting super close. It sounds like she's about a day's journey away from Never-Ending Mountain. So we will pick up there next time. All right, you guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.